Alright, so you probably read the title of the video, and some of you might already be scared to watch it, but for the most part, you guys on YouTube are awesome, so this video isn't about you. This is more of a video about it overall. This is a video I've kind of wanted to make for a while. It's been hard to do it, so I'm going to try my best here, but I don't know, I'm going to say this right now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this video without getting a little pissy, or at least sarcastic as hell. So if you're not into your ideas being challenged in any way or anything like that, you should probably turn away now. This is going to be one of those videos where you're going to stand somewhere on this. You're going to definitely have to take a side, probably. Like, I guess it's possible to be neutral in this situation, but in my case, I've leaned more to the extreme on this. So, yeah, anyway, that was a long disclaimer. You know how I go about this, so let's get right into it. This was a situation, if you hear me clicking, I'm sorry, but this was a situation that happened a while ago. I made an entire Twitter moment about it. I know, right? A Twitter moment, your souls. I made an entire Twitter moment about it. It was what happened was this picture you see here, for some reason, sparked controversy. Now, if you are familiar with how the internet works, you know that there are people out there that are just, they get professionally offended at so much that it's unbelievable. You wouldn't believe the things that make these people mad, but these were one of these things. And honestly, let's look at this image, all right? Just look at the image for a minute. What's wrong with the image? What's wrong with the image? Somebody tell me what's wrong with the image. All right? Anyone? No? Okay. So, for whatever reason, everyone who went after this person, there was a huge group of people that went after this person for a number of reasons. And every one of them, I'm going to be as honest as I can about this. I think they might be a little bit on the pro-censorship side. They don't want to say it, but they are. They clearly are. And I'll show you, and we'll talk about why in a minute. Now, here is my first example of what I'm talking about. Right here. So, what made this people so angry about this picture was that the girl in it is 15 years old, alright? Now, I understand somewhat of what people are saying. I won't lie. I understand somewhat of what they're saying. But at the same time, I really don't. Because this person right here, as you say, let me just read it. Rory Williams is 15 years old. If I said the name wrong, I butcher names all the time. Unfortunately, it seems some comic artists have never laid eyes on a young teenager. Right. So, of course, let's get an example of a young 15-year-old teenager, shall we? So you see this picture, right? Now, first of all, we all know this video is probably going to be demonetized. Let's be honest. But the person you see is Kendall Jenner, 15 years old. Now look at the other picture. There was no outrage to this, really, at all, really. There was none at all to this picture, because it was a real person. However, the moment somebody draws a 15-year-old that does not conform to how they imagine their little probably very likely pampered 15-year-old, they decided to freak out. So, already that's one thing that we've already disproven. And there are other pictures, however, it's the internet, so obviously some of them aren't exactly appropriate. Now, are they? For a video. Especially one that should hopefully not be age-restricted. It might happen. Maybe we'll have our first age-restricted video. Who knows? For that one photo. Who knows? But, so yeah, for whatever reason, they decided to think that Rory Williams, a 15-year-old girl, is not allowed to look like that, guys. She's not allowed. She is not allowed to look like that. And if she does, how dare the artist? How dare he or she? How dare he or she make this work? All right? How dare they? All right. I think we've already made our point there. So now here's the second thing. I'm also getting all of these from my Twitter moment, by the way, and then we'll get into my thoughts. So sorry if it's a little disorganized, but I'm trying to not scream. All right, so here's one by Wife School Dropout. Let's be honest, the name, probably perfect. This person probably did drop out of school, especially with their level of intellect. Anyway, this person is going off saying, still don't see the difference. Yeah. And then they say, this is exactly why white men should let us tell our stories. So, what does this mean? Well, what this means is this person is saying, right here in the tweet, that somehow white men, that also includes me, by the way, somehow, because I'm a white guy, apparently, we are somehow, through the use of telekinesis or some kind of mind powers, making it so that these people they simply cannot write their own stories. They cannot draw their own things. They can't. Because we as white men, specifically white men, never white females, even though I'm sure they're next in the chopping block at this rate, specifically white men are magically stopping these people from making their own stories. We are literally zipping their mouths closed with our telekinetic powers somehow. Jesus Christ. So, yeah, that's that one. Here's another example. Sigrid Elias. I don't fucking know. I did not previously think you see all teenage girls as posing sexily. Now I wonder whether you do. Oh, look at this. So, apparently, this guy can read minds. Apparently, this guy, or whoever this is, I cannot tell from the picture. I can't. But anyway, this person thinks that they think that the person who was drawn in this picture was drawn too sexily. But to think that would mean they, of course, have to be able to read the minds of the artists. So, realistically, because we know, all right, we know this. We know that humanity is, at the moment anyway, in our current realm of reality, not able to read people's minds. We must come to the second conclusion, that is, this person thinks that the image that he saw is sexy. So, apparently, his argument that the artist sees all teenage girls as sexily is a little bit of what we call projection. I think this person sees the image as sexy and for some reason has gotten professionally offended by it. Sorry if I sigh a lot in this video. But yes, this was all sparked over that image. This image right here. It was all sparked by this image. This specific image. Now, I'm going to say right now, I'm a little late to say this, but I might as well. I don't read the Marvel comics. I watch the movies. I think the movies are great, but I don't actually read the Marvel comics. So I cannot criticize story-wise or, that kind of stuff. I can't talk about the story specifically about it, if you know what I'm saying. But let's be honest, I don't need to, because that's not what we're doing in this video. What we're talking about is what we call fan entitlement. Now, what happened? Take a guess what you guys think happened after this poor guy got all this hate. Take a guess. Do you think Marvel bravely stood up on the pedestal of awesomeness and took out their sword and shield and say, "Come at us, professionally offended. Let's go. We will fight to the battle, and we will see who wins with their wallets"? Do you think they said that? No, of course not. What they did was they decided to do exactly that. They decided to pull the cover. So, this is why I personally believe that these people are in the belief that censorship is okay. Because, let's be 100% honest here, okay? This isn't real life, okay? I know some people cannot grasp this concept, But artwork, stories of fiction-based stuff, fiction, the word fiction in itself means, not real. Hell, I'll give you the exact definition if you want the exact definition right there. It means it's not real, okay? None of it is real. It's entirely designed by an artist or by a storyteller, okay? So, for some reason, these people I think they get this, but for some reason, they find it necessary to censor it, even though no one is getting hurt. Now, what I mean by this is, for some reason, all the time when these situations pop up, we have these people that freak out saying that it's hurting the culture, that they're doing this, they're doing that. And yet, when you talk to the average person, they don't give a fuck. I bet a lot of you watching this video didn't even know this shit happened. And that's because these people are what we call people who get professionally offended. They get offended at anything almost. Anything that does not fit what they think is right. And don't even get me started, because I will tell someone down if that happens to me in real life. It's gotten to a point where it almost did. And I barely had even started, and it got nasty real fast. The simple fact of the matter is, for some reason, these people think that they can control another artist's... no, they don't think they can. They want to control another artist's or another writer's or any one of those mediums. They want to be able to control it. They, as fans, want to be able to control it, except they want to control it even though they don't have to do any of the work. They don't have to put in the hours, and I do indeed mean hours, that it takes to do something in the creative field. They don't want to put in the hours. What they want to do is entirely control what the artist, whatever field they may be in, puts out. And that is where we have a problem. And what I mean by that is, well, it's rising. It's becoming bigger, and it's been becoming bigger for a very long time, and I'm getting a little bit sick of it because no one... Unfortunately, those who stand up for it tend to be the actual artists, never the company. And that's where that's why I think this is a bit of a problem. A very big problem. See, we continuously continue to run into instances where they obviously being the artist will do something, these people will get offended, and then because they were offended, these artists were forced to either remove the image or change it entirely. There have been many examples of this. I don't even need to pull up any, because let's be honest here, you just look at the internet, there's like a million different articles out there about articles like art being pulled, stories being pulled, things being censored. It's all over the place, and it's fucking ridiculous. All right? I'm going to be honest with you. This is entirely opinion. I'm not trying to prove my stuff to be fact, but this is entirely my opinion as a writer, okay? It's ridiculous. It's a level of entitlement, and it is entitlement. Some people believe that it's outrage. Personally, I think it's not. I think it's a form of entitlement, a severe form of entitlement that, for some reason, no one is paying attention to. And yes, I know there are people like me, for example, who do pay attention, and there are others who pay attention to it. But for the most part, the people running this shit, they don't pay attention to it. They were too busy in 2014 talking about how entitled gamers were, if you know what I'm talking about. They were too busy with that than to talk about the entitlement from the exact side that they're writing for. They simply can't grasp it. And what I mean by entitlement is, for example, right? If I wrote a story, and I write many, so obviously I would be, if I wrote a story and a fan kindly, let's put an emphasis on this, requested or kindly said, we would want to see this kind of character. Like, I don't know. I got an idea recently from this big thing that happened, I think it was 2-3 months ago, called Inspire a Writer. And what they did is they said there isn't many deaf characters. I'm like, oh, I could make a deaf character. And I honestly, I probably will. I'll probably put a deaf character somewhere in one of my stories. What these people are doing is the exact opposite. They're not trying to inspire writers. What they're trying to do is scare writers and artists and a lot of other people. Sorry if you heard that noise, by the way. Let me deal with that now. But what they're trying to do is scare writers and artists. They're trying to scare them, and a more appropriate word, honestly, is bully them into obeying and doing what they want, even though they don't put in any of the work hours. They don't do anything. They don't contribute at all besides reading it. Or sometimes they don't even read it. Sometimes people just pirate it and then go nuts on the internet. Because that's another video. That's another video for another time. But basically, there are people out there who purposely pirate things just because they're pissed at you for whatever reason, and they think this is okay. But hey, it's fine. But obviously, it's not fine. But you know, what are we gonna do? But what I was going to say is, it's crazy that for some reason, people are continuing to do this. It's never going to stop, of course, so it's not ridiculous, but it's ridiculous that people don't see what's wrong with this, because just some people, and 1 second, sorry about that. Somebody was continuously spamming me during recording, because this is a thing that's funny now. Anyway, it's ridiculous that some people don't see the problem with this, because while some people will go out and say, well, it's just outrage culture, you know, it's just a thing. I agree to a very large degree. I agree. But the problem is these people are having an effect on these people's jobs, and inevitably probably my own. They affect sales, and they spread misinformation, and they slander, and they're allowed to do it. And I think it's ridiculous. Do I want to censor them? No, because obviously I am against censorship. The problem is these people are advocating for censorship. So it makes me almost want to say, fuck these people. Let them get censored too. But no, I'm not going to say that because it's not my stance. But I feel that it would be ironic justice, if you know what I mean. Because these people are quite literally almost thought police at this point. They almost are. They are going into universes and just tearing them up and saying, we own it. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we can do whatever we want because we're your fans. And I'm trying to say this nicely here, guys, all right? Which is why I started this off by saying you guys on YouTube are awesome. I haven't really had problems with you, but I'm going to be honest with you, okay? If you come into a situation like a comment section or something like that, and you're not, I believe harsh criticism. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those people that says fuck people who are very harshly critical. I'm not one of those people. But when you go as far as to say, for example, there was a situation once where somebody said, I should be ashamed of what I'm doing. That's not criticism. That is, I don't really know a word for it. That's not criticism. What that is a level of insult that I don't even have a word for, and I'm a fucking writer. I have to give it more thought, but obviously I'm trying to, talk candidly and honestly about this while I'm here. So, I understand harsh criticism, but this is not harsh criticism. What this is doing, first of all, let me explain to you what criticism is. Criticism, for the most part, sometimes, yeah, it's for somebody to hopefully be able to improve something. And then sometimes it's just if someone dislikes what you do, so they harshly criticize it. But then there are some things which you really can't criticize them for because it makes no sense. Like, how do I word this? Like, for example, what the jokes I made previously, like, somehow by this one artist making a black, this is another, we'll get into this in a minute, a black woman, a black teenage woman, somehow this is people making it so other races, quote unquote, cannot make stories or make art. Somehow that's happening. Somehow that's a thing. That's what I mean. Like, that's not criticism. What that practically is, I will say, honestly, I believe it's just outright slander and lying. That's what it is. It's not criticism. It's just fucking stupid. I honestly believe that what it is. It's ridiculous. And I wish I didn't have to make this video. But I know, because of how the creative field is going, that I'm inevitably going to be on the chopping block. Even though, like I've already done, there will be a million people. Okay, maybe not that many, but there'll be a ton of people who will easily look at this and say, sarcastically even joke about it or whatever, saying, what the fuck, are these people crazy? The problem is these people have an effect, and that's the problem. They do have an effect, whatever that effect may be. Now, what I have learned over the years is to not pay any attention to these people at all, and that's what's sad about it. Because these people do this, and they're so aggressive, and they're so... Sorry, hiccups. Wow. What the fuck? Because these people are ridiculous, it makes it very hard for some people listen to criticism. It almost demonizes a specific thought. For example, and this is what I was trying to talk about earlier. First of all, I should say this specifically. When I make characters, I personally am what we call colorblind when it comes to race. What I mean by that is I don't give a shit. I don't. I just don't. They could, for the most part, that's why I said for the most part. There are situations like, for example, the Xel'crin character, aka me, in my own story, obviously, because I myself am white, I see myself as white. And, if there's any other characters who are based off that, obviously, they're that. But for the majority of my characters, I don't give a shit. Honestly, I'd let my artist, whoever that artist would be at the time, handle the races, because I don't care. I specifically, for the most part, which is why I keep saying for the most part, in most characters, leave out races in their descriptions, if I even have that big of a description at all. Because of that exact reason. Because I don't care. Race is not part of their character. And personally, some people will find this highly controversial. I don't think, and that's what I find is funny, that people will find this controversial. I don't think that a person's race affects their character. I think people who think this are ridiculous. I don't understand why people think this way. Because the same people who go off about white men apparently not allowing them to do this and do that, the same people aren't making stories themselves when they easily could be. They could take out a fucking Word document, just fucking start typing, and you got a story. But they don't. Because that's all they're good for, apparently. That's all they can do. They can scream like fucking wasps on Twitter. That's all they can do. And it hurts artists. It scares people out of the industry. And it's just, it's a mess. And I wish it would stop, but it's not going to. It's not going to. And the reason I'm making this video is because, honestly, I hope they notice this video. And I do hope that they mass fucking raid this video with dislikes and shit. Because I honestly am perfectly okay with... I'm one of the few YouTubers who's perfectly okay with turning off dislikes and lights. Because the whole fucking thing that dislikes and lights is for is to tell you tell you, by that I mean myself, the content creator. It's to tell the content creator if the video was good or not. And if these people start going off dislike, rating, I'm going to turn it off. Because the whole point is to tell me, specifically my fans to tell me if they like the video. Not for some crazy raid of... I don't like using the term SJW, even though I use it on Twitter all the time. But I don't know the term for these people other than, professionally outraged. Basically, if SJWs come in here fucking raiding this video, I have no problem turning off the dislikes to lights. It's not censorship if you're not using it correctly. Will I turn off comments? Never. Because that is censorship. Because I'm not going to turn off your ability to speak. And honestly, I don't want to, because I want to laugh at you. But I'm not going to let you damage my career because you fucking don't like what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's one thing to criticize someone, and yeah, I'm not saying that a dislike is a bad thing. What I'm saying is these people who make it a mission to go on dislike raids, as people have come to call them. So, I think it's ridiculous that this still has to be talked about. And as I was saying, this is a form of entitlement that I I think needs to genuinely stop. If, for example, you guys came into my story, like, I don't know, the comment section or something like that, and for some reason you were, like I said, just accurately criticizing me, that's fine. Go for it. That's fine. But if you're coming in here going off about races and all this stuff and blah, 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 I'm not even going to listen to you. I'm probably just going to scroll over your comment and just leave it at that. If I do respond, it ain't going to be a nice response. I'm going to tell you that right now. But if you asked nicely, I probably will do it, or I'll just talk to you. I don't understand why everyone is so militant about this. Like, everyone doesn't grasp the concept that artists are artists. It's fiction. It's not the real world. Us doing one thing is not going to do this or do that. Everything doesn't have to be a fucking political statement in the real world. It's just fiction. Okay? Does this make sense to some people? I hope so. It just seems like less and less seem to get it. And I'm joking, of course. The reality is these people are a small minority. But I just had to make this video because it's ridiculous the effect these people can have. And I don't want them to just get away with it. And I want to get my thoughts out there. And the thing that I find the most funny, and I believe we'll be ending this video soon. It's not a long video. It's just one of the shorter ones we're probably going to do here. Because there's not too much to talk about on this topic for the most part. I could go more in depth, and I probably will in the future if this continues to happen. But I mainly want to leave this just for this specific instance. If I do an overall thing, it'll probably be about my own stuff. It'll be addressing criticisms in the future probably, but I want to leave it mostly at this. And in the future, I might even have to say this multiple times. But my biggest thing that I need to say before we end this video, I find it ridiculous that, and I kind of talked about this a little earlier too. I said it as an insult, but I genuinely mean this. I find it ridiculous that, and this is where the entitlement comes in, people of droves will come in. They will scream their head off about something, whatever that something may be. And they will go nuts about it. All right? When they did not, cannot, and probably never will create any kind of artwork of their own. All right? That, to some people, this is going to make some people mad. But honestly, you need to, please, I'm asking you as a writer myself to see it from my perspective when I say it. It's ridiculous. You didn't put in the hours it takes to do this kind of stuff. I've been working on my story for like 4 years now at this point. It's big. And it makes me so mad that some people are going to just come out of nowhere and assume my thoughts and assume I'm doing this and assume I'm doing that and assume I'm doing these kind of political statements when I'm just making a story. Is there a message to these stories? Of course. Does that mean that for some fucking reason I am a white guy trying to be racist to other people and I'm silencing voices and did it? No, it doesn't. And the fact that people think it is ridiculous and it needs to stop. It's not going to stop, but I wish it would. These are the kind of people that make me almost press block. I've never done it in my life to... Okay, well, there was two people I've done it to, actually, when I think about it. But that's not because I was censoring their ideas. That was because they were threatening me and my life. We'll get into that in the future, potentially. But that was a different situation. I've never blocked someone because of their beliefs. I've never done that. And I never want to do that. But if someone starts coming in here screaming their head off about things they think about me, like not about me, but about that I put into my story for one thing, like for example, that the whole thing where that for some reason they think that, I can't say this enough, that they think the white guy is trying to stop the black person from talking. That kind of stuff That's where I almost want to push the block button. That's almost where I push it, because it's ridiculous. It's a stupid argument to make. How much must you hate the world that you believe everyone is out to get specifically you? That for some reason you are the center of the universe, and everything I do is to spite you and get you mad and come after you. Why? Why do you... Why? Like I said, this is one of those videos where it's very hard for me to make it, which is another reason why it's going to be shorter. I'm trying to keep it as concise as I can without streaming and doing all this other stuff, because this is just a ridiculous fucking situation, and I think it's ridiculous that they had to pull this cover, and it's gonna happen more. And another reason I think it's important to say this is, when it comes to these people, there is only one thing you can really do. I'm against blocking people, so it probably won't be blocking, but the only thing I can do, and let this serve as a message to every single one of them who will go crazy, wherever that may be, in the comment section, in emails, trying to harass me in real life. Let me make it very clear, all right? I will not apologize. I will say this instead. Go fuck yourself. Okay? Glad we got that out of the way. If you can't accept that, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I understand criticism, as I said, and I honestly am okay with harsh criticism. Of course I am. I have to be. If I wouldn't, I'd be ridiculous. I fucking harshly criticize people all the time. But this isn't criticism. This is insanity. This is not helping anyone. It's not helping... It's not helping who they claim to be helping. It's not helping the person making the... Well, yeah, of course. It's helping the person making the tweet or whatever, because, they're getting likes and they're getting impressions and all this bullshit. But it's not helping the artist. It's not helping the industry. It's not helping anyone. All it's doing is making you look like a freaking idiot. That's all it's doing. And it needs to stop. If you believe in the censorship of ideas, I'm not going to change your opinion on this. But if you don't, you need to understand this simple rule. All right? These works are fiction. They are fiction. They don't have to be politically motivated. They don't have to be this. They don't have to be that. They don't have to cater to every single thing you demand. They are works created by the group, or just the lone artist in some cases, like in my own case for my own story. And they are not yours to cut up and say, we need to change this about it, we need to change that, but we're not going to put in any of the money, we're not going to do anything, we're just going to tell you you have to do it and expect you to do it without any form of backlash. Because if you backlash, we will take down your cover and we will censor you because we are important and you are not. That's the message you said, and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. It's not going to stop, but it needs to. So, yeah, this was more of a vent video. I am a little bit sorry if it came out that way. This is me controlled on the subject. Just imagine me off the chain about it. And I am, sorry about that. But it's very hard to try and talk rationally about this stuff, because there should, being the key word here, be common sense. It should be. But for some reason, there are way too many hypocrites in this world who, while they say they're for freedom of speech, then go out using their freedom of speech to try and censor another's freedom of speech. That's some kind of paradox that has no words right now. And the moment it has words, someone tell me the words and I will happily use them. But for now, guys, this has been Xel'crin. Thank you for watching. Shorter video, I know. But I wanted to talk about this topic, and I figured this is one of those videos where we should just keep it to one topic. So, yeah, there we go. So, thank you for watching, guys. This has been Xel'crin. And hopefully, my fans will be able to forgive me for this one. I'm going to try not to do too many of these topics that get me heated, because obviously, it comes out a little bit aggressive. And while I myself, if you've watched my fucking things, I'm pretty aggressive when in video games and stuff. I try to be as rational about certain topics as I can, but this is one of those things where I just can't. I can't, because it's ridiculous. So, Yeah. Next week's video, I think we'll be talking about politics again, and I will be back to my rational self about it. So, hopefully rational. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. This has been Xel'crin, and I'll see you in this video stream wherever the fuck you find me. Bye, guys.
The hour is upon us.
You require more Vespine gas. You require... The enemy moves against us. We will meet them head-on. A bonus objective will expire soon.
I am ready to be empowered. The hour is upon us. The fires of conflict are right. As I will what? So moves the chain of ascension. The hour is upon us. As I...
You must construct additional...
My life for the High Lord.
Don't sweat it, Commanders. Concentrate on saving the city. I'll hunt down that scum later. Those filthy pirates are trying for another score. Let's lay down the law, Commanders.
You must construct additional pylons. You have not enough minerals.
My life for... So goes the chain of ascension.
Your allies are in battle.
The Death Fleet is ready for deployment.
Shielding our warriors now.
The Death Fleet has arrived. I am as strong as any army.
Your allies are in battle.
Need to move against the Void Shards soon. We're running out of time.
Your allies are in battle.
Strike at the High Lord first.
Your allies are in battle. Our adversaries intend to eliminate us. Templar, greet them in kind.
They keep summoning shards, and we keep sending them back.
Expect nothing less of the Paldarine. His choice. Only
Our pylon is under attack.
Home stretch, Commanders. One more group of shards to go.
the fires of
Your
conflict.
allies are in battle. Our pylon is under attack. More base is under attack. Upgrade complete. Your allies are in battle. Your probes are force.
The hour is...
Your allies are in battle.
With this choice, you address the High Lord.
Your allies are in battle. Unacceptable command. We are at maximum supply. Unacceptable command. We are at maximum supply. Your allies are in battle.
Looks like you mixed another Void Shard, Commanders. I'm impressed.
Well fought. Your allies are in battle. Your warriors have engaged the enemy. Bonus objective expiring. Your allies are in battle.
Void Shard eliminated. Keep it up.
It is done. The objective has fallen.
I do not take kindly to intruders. Our enemies will learn that soon enough.
Clock's ticking. We need to get rid of those shards.
Upgrade. Base is under attack. Your allies are in battle.
Must I compensate for your weakness, so shall it be?
Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
Good work on that Void Shard.
Thus to all enemies of the Templar.
That's all of the Void Shards. The city is ours. You hear that, Amon? The Dominion is not so easily defeated.